Good morning, all of you. Welcome to Sri Jayendra Rank Zone. So, now we are going to discuss electrochemistry 5th lecture. So, in the previous lecture, what we have done, that is based on Nernst equation and electrolysis. Now, in this lecture, we are going to do what is electrode concentration of cell and remaining part of the chapter. In these cells, what is electrode concentration cell? In these cells, the potential difference is developed between two similar electrodes. Here, you underline the word similar electrodes at different concentrations immersed in the same solution of the electrolyte. So, immersed in the same concentration of same solution of the electrolyte. Example, two hydrogen electrodes at different gas pressures in the same solution of hydrogen ion constitute a concentration cell. So, for this case, the EMF of the cell is calculated by using the formula, because here P1 is 1 pressure, P2 is 1 pressure. So 0.0591 by 2 log of P2 by P1. So in place of concentration, they can give even pressures also. So when they are given partial pressures, you can take log of P2 by P1. P2 by P1, that is product by reactant. I hope it is clear. Next. To determine the KSP, solubility product of silver chloride, the following cell is constructed. So silver chloride, Cl minus, C1M and Ag plus C2M by Ag. So in the left hand side of the cell, KSP is equal to concentration of silver plus into concentration of Cl minus. And whereas Ag plus is equal to KSP by Cl minus and KSP by C1. So you can find out using silver KSP value, you can find out silver concentration of the silver. And the EMF of the cell is equal to, E of the cell is equal to minus 0.059 by 1, because 1 electron change, into log of Ag plus at anode by Ag plus at cathode. So both concentrations at cathode and anode. So this formula is very important. Kindly note down. So E cell is equal to minus, that is EMF of the cell is equal to minus 0.059 by 1 to log of KSP by C1 by C2, and EDG of cell is equal to minus 0.059 by 1 into log of KSP by C1 into C2. I hope this is clear. So this formula, I'm making it a box. So when KSP is given, how to find concentration, or when EDG of cell is given, how to find concentration. This. So I'm telling it a box. This formula is very, very important. And based on this formula, numericals are very rare. Usually they will not ask. So let us see next. Now, here they are given two concentrations of the same. So the EMF of the galvanic cell is given, comprising of two hydrogen electrodes, is 177 milli electron volts. So it's millivolts. Millivolts means 10 to the power of minus 3. So if the solution at one of the electrode has H plus concentration 10 to the power of minus 3, find the H plus concentration of another electrode. Just moving to previous slide. If you take previous slide. So this is some related to the previous slide. So previous slide I'm going here, just see here. So for the same concentration, silver at anode by silver at cathode, EDG of cell is equal to log of this. So we have to find one anode, one cathode. They have given everything. So this formula we are applying. Just we have to apply this formula. So now going to the numerical. E of the cell is equal to, E cell is equal to 0.059 1 by 1 into log of minus sign into log of, no, not minus sign, E of cell directly into log of concentration of H plus at one electrode by concentration of H plus at another electrode. So here the question is, what is this concentration of H plus at anode and cathode? So here one of the electrodes, same. So we can take, if you take the previous slide again, I'm just showing that formula. You can just see here. Previous slide. You can see here Ag plus of anode by Ag plus of cathode. Same way here, H plus of anode by H plus of cathode. H plus of anode by H plus of cathode. So same thing you are writing. So yes, that is nothing but H plus of anode by H plus of cathode. So in this question, everything is given except this H plus of anode. So you can take E of cell is equal to, that is given 177 milli. E of cell is equal to 177 millivolts. So 177 into 10 to the power of minus 3. 177 into 10 to the power of minus 3, which is equal to 0.059 by 1 into log of concentration of 10 to the power of minus 3 by log of concentration of x. So this x only we have to find. So this is easy. You can do substitution and then you can solve it. So answer will be 10 to the power of minus 6 molarity. So I hope this is clear. So when similar electrodes are given in the solution for galvanic cell, you have to use this formula. I hope it is clear. Next question. The EMF, so 10 to the power minus 6 molarity will get. Calculate the charge on mercury ion. EMF of the cell is given below is 0.0295 volts at 25 degrees C. So they're asking us to find only charge. By using Nernst equation, easily you can find out. Charge means here, how many number of electrons involved in the reaction, we don't know, because they are given galvanic cell representation and mercury is changing to mercury liquid. So they are given 0.01 and 0.1. So the concentration is given straight away. So easily we can find out. The formula is E is equal to E is equal to 0.059 by N, 0.059 by N into log of into Y, no, into X. So log of concentration of this is product 0.01 and by reactant, because anode is 0.01, by concentration of reactant, that is concentration of mercury is reactant is 0.1 is the second one. So by simply applying this formula, you know the value of E. E is given as 0.0295. So 0.0295 is equal to 0.059 by N, because we have to find N only. The charge means N, number of electrons involved, by N into log of 0.01 by 0.1 is 0.001 by 0.1. So you can cancel it out. So it is equal to 10 to the power of minus 1. 10 to the power of minus 1. And log of 10 to the power of minus 1 is equal to minus 1. So N is equal to 0.059 by 0.0295. Simply it is 2. So answer is 2. The charge is 2. I hope this is clear. So here they have given concentrations of left hand side and concentrations of right hand side. So left hand side we have to write on the top, right hand side we have to write on the base. That is denominator. And E degree of cell is equal to, by applying Nernst equation, you can find charge. What is charge? Charge is denoted by the letter N. So N is equal to 2. So it is clear? Yes. Yes, charge is plus 2. Next, calculation of potential of a reaction by adding or subtracting reaction. This model is very, very important. Just note it down. This model is very, very important. Mark important over here. So the electrode potentials of Cu plus 2 to Cu and Cu plus 2 to Cu. So it is total is 2 electron change, and it has taken 2 steps. That is, first is 1 electron change, second is 1 electron change. So are given as 0.34 volts and 0.5 volts. And by using these values, you can calculate the electrode potential of Cu plus 2 to Cu plus. So that is only they are asking. Cu plus 2 to Cu is given as E1. It is taken as 0.34 volts, and delta G1 is equal to minus NF E degree of cell. So N is 2 electron change, and Cu plus gives us plus 1 electron gives us Cu, that is given as E2, and delta G2 is minus 1 into F into 0.5. 1 is not mentioned because 1 is, if you multiply the same thing you will get. And finally they are asking Cu plus 2 to Cu plus how much. So that is delta G3 is equal to minus F into E3 degree, and they are asking us to find what is E3. So this model is very, very important. So many times they have asked this question, this type of questions in competitive exams. So in this way you have to do, and we already know that delta G is equal to delta G1 minus delta G2 is equal to delta G3, because total is equal to sum, or else you can take total is equal to delta G1 plus delta G2. Even you can take like this or like this. Total it means 2 electron change, and G1 plus G2 is 1 electron change, 1 electron change respectively. So here delta G1 is minus 2F into 0.35 minus F into 0.5 minus F into. So taking F common, F gets cancelled, and easily you can find E3 value, and that is coming around 0.18. For example, I'll write here one more problem. If this model is very important, that's why I want to give one more problem. If EDK of Fe plus 3 to Fe plus 2, Fe plus 3 to Fe plus 2 is equal to X volts, and EDK of Fe plus 3, Fe plus 2 to Fe plus 2 to Fe is equal to Y volts. Then what is EDK of Fe plus 3 to Fe? So that is finally 3 electron change, and first one is 1 electron, second one is 2 electron. So 1 plus 2 will give 3. So here we can write delta G is equal to delta G1 plus delta G2. Delta G1 plus delta G2. Why I am writing here delta G3? Because 3 electron change. Total is equal to 1 plus 2. So what is delta G1? Minus 1 into, because first case is 1 electron change, because plus 3 changes to plus 2, minus 1 into F into EDK of cell, that is X, minus plus into minus 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 2 into, because second case it is 2 electron, F into Y. So from this X and Y values you can find out the answer. Just I am giving example. So F and F gets cancelled. So you'll get minus Fx minus 2Fi. So FF gets cancelled and you'll get the answer. So in this way you have to do, because they're asking delta G3 is 3 electron change. So this model is very, very important. And we are going to get this question in the coming examinations. So that's why it's very important to do this type of models. Minus 3 into F into, minus 3 into F into delta G, EDK of cell. Okay, I hope it is clear. Next. Next topic in this chapter, very, very important. Application of EMF measurement. By using EMF, we can even calculate pH also. That also we discussed. pH can be calculated from Nernst equation by calculating H plus concentration if at least one electrode is hydrogen electrode. So out of the 2 electrodes, if one of the electrode is hydrogen, we can calculate H plus from that. And by calculating H plus concentration, we can calculate pH, because pH is equal to minus log of H plus. pH is equal to minus log of concentration of H plus. Minus log concentration of H plus. So this is clear. So next we have determination of equilibrium constant. This is the recap of formulas. Already we have done these questions also. So equilibrium constant can be calculated at equilibrium. E is equal to 0. So EDK of cell is equal to 0.059 by N into log K. And EDK of cell is equal to E of positive minus E of negative. That is reduction minus oxidation, or cathode minus anode, or right minus left. So you can use the same formula and find out the answer of equilibrium constant. And when they are given log K, so you have to take anti-log of that. That type of numericals already we did in the last session. Next. So examples here for hydrogen electrode and copper. Hydrogen and copper electrode, because hydrogen is displacing copper. So we can take H plus by C2, because H plus whole square Y, because 2 electrons involved, and hydrogen is only 1. So H plus whole square you have to take. And then you can get the answer, EDK of cell minus 0.059 by 2 into log of root of Ka C1 by C2, where Ka is called dissociation constant. This formula is not required. Anyway, this formula is already we discussed. Next. Very, very important, this chapter. Latimer diagram. This is a potential diagram which indicates the relative stabilities of different oxygen states of a metal. Also, we can predict whether disproportionate reaction takes place or not, or whether we can say the reaction is spontaneous or not, or whether reaction is feasible or not. So the Latimer diagram of iron is given below. For iron, from Fe changes to Fe plus 2, that is Fe plus 2 to Fe, reduction potential is given as minus 0.44 volts. And Fe plus 3 changes to Fe plus 2, it is given as reduction potential plus 0.77 volts. And finally, it changes to Fe plus 3. Since the potential of Fe plus 2 to Fe is negative, first case, and potential of Fe plus 3 to Fe plus 2 is positive. So Fe plus 2 is more stable oxygen state of iron. That's why we say iron is more stable in plus 2 state, whereas in plus 3 state it is less stable. So the one for one which we are getting negative reduction potential value is more stable than the positive reduction value. So iron is most stable oxygen state of iron. So this is called Latimer diagram. Next example now. The Latimer diagram of chlorine is as shown. That is Cl2 changes to Cl minus is equal to 1.35 volts, and ClO2 minus changes to Cl2 is 0. Plus 0.4 volts. So that is ClO minus. Predict whether chlorine disproportionate or not. Here chlorine ion is changing to Cl2, means here it is minus 1 changing to 0, and here it is changing to plus 2, because ClO oxygen state of ClO minus is, here you can see here, oxygen state of ClO minus, chlorine is X and oxygen is minus 2, X minus 2 is equal to minus 1, so X is equal to plus 1. So here oxygen state of chlorine is plus 1, and here it is 0, and here it is minus. So the Latimer diagram of chlorine is as shown. Predict whether chlorine disproportionate or not. Yes, it is disproportionation, because the positive is nothing but ClO minus change to Cl2 is 0. Plus 0.4, and the negative is plus 1.35. So I hope it is anyway simple. If you see simple, minus 1 changes to 0, it is increase in oxidation number. Then 0 to plus 1 is also again. So it is undergoing disproportionation reaction. Next, what is disproportionation reaction? Before that, simultaneous oxidation and reduction takes place for the same element. Very important. Simultaneous oxidation and reduction takes place for the same element. It is called as disproportionation reaction. So here, in this reaction, the oxygen state of chlorine is changing from both oxidation and reduction takes place. That is called disproportionation reaction. In this reaction, if you see second case, Cl plus 1 it is. In this case, oxygen state of chlorine is plus 1. Plus 1. So plus 1 is changing to 0. So it is oxidation. So reduction, and this is oxidation. Anyway, it is like this. So this is called both oxidation and reduction taking place for chlorine only. So hence chlorine can disproportionate. Next question, next one. Example 2. The Latimer diagram of copper in acidic medium is as shown below. Calculate the value of X and predict whether Cu plus disproportionate or not in solution. So here the Cu plus 2 to Cu plus is 0.15 volts, and Cu plus 2 Cu is equal to 0.5. And what is EDK of X? That is total Cu plus 2 to Cu. By using delta G value, you can find out. So EDK of Cu plus 2 to Cu plus, EDK of Cu plus 2 to Cu plus is equal to given as 0.15 volts plus 0.15 volts, and EDK of Cu plus 2 to Cu is also given as Cu plus 2 Cu plus Cu is equal to 0.5 volts. Now they're asking EDK of Cu plus 2 to Cu directly total is equal to how much? That is X. We have to calculate the value of X by using the values. By using the formula, we can find out easily. Delta G is equal to delta G is equal to delta G1 plus delta G2. Here delta G2 is equal to delta G1 is first case, and second case is delta G2. And this becomes delta G, final one. So by applying this, we can take, we can take it as delta G is equal to, I'll take a new slide. It will be easy for us because here it is, place is not sufficient. Why are you writing no need of writing all these things? So delta G, that is directly I'm writing here, minus 2 into, because finally it's 2 electrons, 2 into F into X minus 2 into F into X is equal to minus first delta G1, that is minus 1 into, yes, minus 1 into F into 0.15, because EDK of cell of first electron is Cu plus 2, Cu plus 2 to Cu plus is equal to 0.15, plus minus 1 into F into 0.5. 0.5. So by using these three values, you can find out X, because FF gets cancelled. So you'll get X value. I hope it is clear, and predict whether it is disproportionate or not. Yes, no, it is. It will not undergo disproportionation, because it's changing from Cu plus 2 to Cu plus and Cu plus to 0. So it is only decreasing, but it is not increasing anywhere. So straight away we can say no disproportionation. I hope it is clear. So I'll go back 1 second. So in this, what we can understand, yeah, X is equal to 0.325 volts and no disproportionation. Next, very important question. The values of E degree of some of the reactions are given below. I2 gains 2 electrons and forms 2I minus. That is, the reduction potential of iodine is given and forms 2, that is gaining 2 electrons. Reduction potential of iodine is given. It is equal to 0.54 volts. Chlorine gains 2 electrons and gives 2 Cl minus, that is also equal to 1.36 plus value. And Fe plus 3 changes to Fe plus 2, 0.76. And Ce plus 4 gives us Ce plus 3, E degree is equal to 1.6 volts. And Sn plus 4 plus 2 electrons gives us to Sn plus 2, E degree is equal to plus 0.15. So all are positive values. And next, on the basis of the above data, answer the following questions. Whether Fe plus C oxidizes Ce plus C or not. See, when you are seeing these positive values, whether Fe plus C oxidizes Ce plus C or not. What is the reduction potential of Fe plus 3? 0.76 volts. What is the reduction potential of Ce plus 4? 1.6. So Ce plus 4 actually Ce plus 3 they are asking? Yes. Ce plus 3, that is plus 4 changed to plus 3 is 1.6. So in between these two, if you compare, this is plus 0.6, this is plus 1. More positive value can be easily reduced and more negative value can be easily oxidized. So here Fe plus 3 can displace Ce plus 3. Fe plus 3 can displace Ce plus 3. So first case it is yes. Second case, whether iodine displaces chlorine from KCl or not. So if you see iodine, reduction potential of iodine, first case it is yes. Second case we'll see. Again we are going back. So second place, iodine 0.54 and chlorine 1.36. They are asking here oxidase or reduction. Just we'll see here. So it is oxidizing. So it is no. The first case it is no, because they are asking oxidizing. It reduces. It will not oxidize. So Fe plus 3 reduces Ce plus 3 to Ce. So it is no. And whether I2 displaces from chlorine from KCl. So let us compare now. For that is also minus 0.82, it is also no. And whenever you get positive values of EDK of cell, we will get 0.61, it is yes. So whether the reaction between FeCl and SnCl occurs means yes, it is occurring. So this question is very, very important. On the whole, I'll tell you clearly. They're asking oxidizing and they're asking reduction also, where iodine displaces chlorine from potassium chloride or not. Let us see. Backside I'm going now. Playing the drawing, clear all the drawings first. Now, back. See, what is the reduction potential of iodine? 0.54. Chlorine is 1.36. So definitely, iodine reduction potential is lesser than chlorine. So easily it can reduce. In the case of iron and cerium also, Iron is having more. Iron can reduce, but not oxidize. But the question they have given oxidize. So iodine can displace chlorine from its salt solution because iodine is 0.54 and chlorine is 1.36 plus value. The reduction potential with lesser positive value will deposit the reduction potential with larger positive value. So 100% second case it is right. And next we have example 4. Answer whether under standard conditions the following reactions are possible or not. Will copper reduce Ag plus 2 to Ag? Already we know, since copper, the electrode potential value of copper is negative and silver is positive. So negative one is more. So negative one can displace positive one easily. So copper can reduce silver plus 2 silver. And if will Fe plus 3 be reduced to Fe plus 2 by Sn plus 2 ion? So they have given Fe plus 3 to Fe plus 2 is 0.77 volts and Sn plus 2 to Sn plus 4 is minus. So tin can displace Fe plus 3. So because it is having a negative reduction potential value. So always negative reduction potential value can displace, can reduce the uh, elements or the species which have positive reduction potential value. Next question. Answer whether under standard conditions the following reactions are possible or not. Would you use silver spoon to stir of copper nitrate? So we know that copper electrode potential is minus 0.337 and silver. So copper can easily displace silver from its salt solution. So we use a silver spoon to stir the solution of copper nitrate. So what happens? Copper reduces silver ions to silver. So can a solution of 1 molarity CuSO4 be stored in a vessel made up of nickel metal? So 1 molarity copper sulfate be stored in a vessel of nickel metal because nickel can reduce copper sulfate to copper. So it is not possible because nickel is still lesser than minus 0.25. So nickel can reduce copper, but copper cannot reduce nickel. So copper sulfate cannot be stored in nickel metal because nickel reduces copper sulfate to copper. Similarly, copper silver spoon can stir a solution of copper nitrate. In this case, what happens? They are asking silver spoon. Can we use a silver spoon stir a solution of copper nitrate? Copper reduces silver ions to silver. So I hope this is clear now. So answer for this first one is yes, second one is no. Next topic in this chapter. Yes, the last topic in this chapter is commercial cells or batteries. A battery is a device which is a galvanic cell or a combination of many galvanic cells in series which converts chemical energy to electric energy. So till now we have completed 3 topics mainly, and now this is the 4th topic, that is cells or batteries. This is the last topic in this chapter. After this chapter will be over. So let us see some different batteries, cells or batteries. What are commercial cells or batteries? It is a device which is nothing but a galvanic cell, a combination of many galvanic cells in series which converts chemical energy to electric energy. Next, types of batteries. We have 2 types of batteries, primary battery and secondary battery. A primary battery is the one which cannot be recharged again and again. Once it is used, once the electrolyte is completely over, we can throw that battery. It is used and throw battery, whereas we cannot recharge it again. Whereas secondary battery can be recharged again and again. That's why nowadays we are using secondary batteries. Even primary batteries also we are using it in remote TV remotes, etc. What is a primary battery? A primary battery is a cell in which the cell reaction takes place only once and it cannot be reversed. The battery cannot be recharged. Example, dry cell or Lagrange cell. In these batteries, they'll ask what is the electrolyte used and what are the reactions at cathode and anode, etc. That type of questions are important. Only theoretical questions from this topic you will get for the competitive exam. So all the points you have to remember. So only the point you have to remember is nothing but no working of the cell. We have to remember only what is the electrolyte used, what is the electrolyte used, and what is the electrolyte used. We have to remember, and also what is the voltage developed by that battery, and what are the reactions at cathode and anode. That's all. Only these 4 topics we have to remember from each and every primary battery or secondary battery. Now, what is a primary battery? A primary battery is a cell in which the cell reaction takes place only once and it cannot be reversed. The battery cannot be charged. Next, what is secondary cell? A secondary cell is a cell in which the cell reaction can be reversed by the passage of external circuit. The battery can be recharged and reused. Example, lead acid battery. This lead acid battery we'll use in bikes and cars, motor vehicles also. Since we know battery gets discharged and battery again it can be recharged. So the battery can be recharged and reused. So that is called secondary battery. Let us see more about dry cell or Lagrange cell. So as I told you, it consisting of a zinc container which is acting as anode. So zinc container acts as anode. You have to remember these points only. That's why I have written only the important points. It contains a zinc container which acts as anode. A graphite rod acts as cathode. The cathode is surrounded by powdered manganese dioxide and carbon. And a paste of ammonium chloride. A paste of ammonium chloride is placed between cathode and anode, which is served as electrolyte. Electrolyte. So this underlying points is important. So dry cell consisting of all this, and the cell reactions at anode is zinc changes to zinc ions, and at cathode manganese dioxide ammonium gains electron and forms manganese oxide hydroxide plus ammonia. The battery cannot be recharged as the zinc ions combine with ammonia to form a complex called zinc ammonium complex. So it is very, very important. The reactions at anode, cathode, what is the electrolyte and what is made of cathode made up of, what is anode made up of. Only these points only I have given, that's why. And a battery is dry cell is nothing but what it converts chemical energy to electric energy. And these are the things taking place in a dry cell or Lagrange cell. Only memory based questions you will get from this. And that memory based is what type of questions I told you. The reaction at anode, the reaction at cathode in dry cell is, the reaction at anode in tricycles, and the cathode is made up of, anode is made up of, or the electrolyte used in tricycles. Like these questions they'll ask by giving options in the competitive exams. So only this matter you have to remember. It is from this concept only you will get memory based questions. Memory based questions, very, very important. Next. So this is the dry cell diagram. It contains carbon positive electrode, that is graphite rod, and electrolyte is a paste of ammonium chloride. So, and manganese, carbon and manganese dioxide mixture, and its paste is electrolyte is the paste, nothing but electrolyte, and zinc negative electrode. And when you, what happens here, this is just like the dry cell which you are using in remotes. In remotes, we'll use a cell now that is called the dry cell. And this is the question. And here light is glowing here. So that is a diagram. In this, what you have to remember, only electrolyte used, reaction at cathode, reaction at anode, and what is the anode made up of, cathode made up of. This is enough for this. And working is common. When you close the key, what happens? The ions, first zinc changes to zinc ions, and these ions will migrate from one place to another place, due to which what happens? Current is produced, that is electric energy is produced. So migration of ions, the electricity is produced due to migration of zinc ions in this cell. So this is called tricell or Lagrange cell. Next, very important, this is lead acid battery, that is secondary battery. It can be recharged. It consisting of a lead metal rod which acts as anode. Lead metal rod acts as anode. And a grid of lead packed with lead dioxide. Grid of lead. Grid means just like transformer, you have grid, no? So that is called grid means so many sheets joined together. It is called as grid. So many sheets joined together is called grid. And grid of lead packed with lead dioxide is acting as cathode. And here the electrolyte is very important. That is 38% sulfuric acid is used as battery electrolyte. And the battery is most commonly used and it gives a steady voltage for a longer period of time. And this battery we are using in motor vehicles like cars and bikes. So the reactions at cathode during discharge, these reactions are important in the examination. They'll ask which of the following represents, charging or when the battery is in use, and discharging means when the battery is in use. Discharging means, yeah, I'm writing clearly. They'll change the language. Discharging means when the battery is in use. Battery is in use. So when the battery is in use means what is the reaction taking place? at anode, the forward reaction takes place. That is, lead dioxide and sulfuric acid changes to lead sulfate. The forward reaction takes place. This is when the battery is in use or battery is discharged. When the battery is in use, the forward reaction takes place. What is the forward reaction? Lead oxide, lead dioxide plus sulfuric acid combines to form lead sulfate and water. So this is the final reaction, and this reaction takes place when the battery is in use. When the battery is in not use, what happens? The reverse reaction takes place. Means what? Again, the formation of sulfuric acid and lead dioxide will be formed. So the same reaction, lead sulfate when water changes to lead dioxide and lead. So you can see that the next slide. So the cell reaction is reversed by the passage of electricity. The cell reaction during charging, and when the battery is not in use. Charging and when the battery is not in use, you can use this reaction. That is lead sulfate giving rise to again sulfuric acid, lead and lead dioxide. So during discharging, the concentration of sulfuric acid decreases, and during charging, it increases. I hope it is clear. The concentration of sulfuric acid decreases, and during charging, it increases. So they write any of these two equations in the examination. Which of the following represents the cell reaction in lead storage battery during charging or when the cell is in use? When the cell is not in use. Charging means not in use. Discharging means cell is in use. So definitely they'll ask this question in the examination. So many times they have given need as well as JEE means. So in this topic, you have to remember only what is the electrolyte, that is 38% sulfuric acid, and what is made up of cathode and what is made up of anode, and what is the cell reaction. Total reaction, not cell reaction here, total reaction. What is total reaction? Lead plus lead dioxide plus sulfuric acid changes to lead sulfate and water, and that is called the entire reaction. And that reaction, if we take it in forward direction, we'll say that is formation of lead sulfate and water. We'll say the cell is in charging, sorry, discharging, the cell is in use. And when the reaction takes place, that is lead sulfate and water combines to form again producing sulfuric acid, we'll say the cell is charging. It is when the battery is not in use. Charging, battery is not in use. Discharging, battery is in use. These two things you have to remember. I hope it is clear. Next. So this is the lead storage battery. Clear picture is given. That's what this big battery. You can use it in motor vehicles, and it contains cathode is nothing but lead grid. Grid means, as I told you, sheets of lead with lead dioxide, and anode is lead grid with spongy lead, and electrolyte is 38% solution of sulfuric acid, and this is called lead storage battery and lead acid battery. So this battery is used in vehicles, that is motor vehicles like cars and bikes, and this is very important. And once the cell is over, we can do again recharge and recharge. So this is coming under secondary batteries. Secondary batteries. Next topic in this chapter is fuel cells. Galvanic cells, which can convert the energy of combustion of fuels like hydrogen, methane, etc., directly changes into electric energy, is known as fuel cells. So by the means of fuel also, fuel is nothing but it's an energy. So it changes directly into electric energy. That is nothing but fuel cells. And one of the cell is hydrogen oxygen fuel cell. Hydrogen and oxygen fuel cell is it will give lot of energy by burning of hydrogen and oxygen. When you come by the combustion of hydrogen and oxygen, we can get lot of energy, and that energy is used for converting it for producing electric energy by the use of dynamos. So this is called a fuel cell. It consisting of two porous carbon electrodes which acts as cathode and anode. So cathode and anode will be taken in a container, and hydrogen gas and oxygen gas are bubbled through these electrodes into a concentrated solution of potassium hydroxide. So when you release hydrogen gas and oxygen gas to potassium hydroxide solution, then they'll undergo combustion and give a lot of energy, and that energy is used for the production of electricity. So electricity, the electrode reactions are at anode, hydrogen plus OH minus gives rise to water, and at cathode, oxygen plus 2H2O gives rise to 4OH minus. Overall reaction, hydrogen combines with oxygen and forms water. So this is the reaction. We have two electrodes. One is cathode and this is anode. And hydrogen gas is introduced from one side. Oxygen gas is introduced from the other side. And due to this, what happens? They are immersed in hot KOH solution where they undergo combustion. And when hydrogen gas and oxygen gas is undergoing combustion, they form water. I hope it is clear. And with the enormous amount of energy. So that energy is used for production of electricity, that is current is produced. Next, what is corrosion? So it is very, very important. That is just like rusting. It is a chemical attack of the constituents in the atmosphere on surface of metal. Rusting or corrosion is a chemical attack of the constituents of in the atmosphere on surface of metal. Usually, you can see the corrosion in iron objects. Even Taj Mahal building also gets under corrosion. So that is nothing but this topic. It is a chemical attack of the constituents in the atmosphere on the surface of metal. The important reaction which takes place during corrosion is the oxidation of metal. Very important is in the corrosion, oxidation takes place. I'm underlining the word oxidation. Even rusting also same. Example, rusting of iron. Iron gets rusted because iron absorbs moisture from air and forms iron oxide. Means here iron is converting into oxide. It's oxide. That is why it is called oxidation of metal. And tarnishing of silver. Silver gets corroded. And development of green coating on copper, etc. All these are examples of corrosion. Next, a simple topic, and you can understand what is rusting of iron. The phenomenon in which iron develops a coating of hydrated ferric oxide when exposed to moist air for a long time is known as rusting of iron. As I told you, iron gets absorbed. Iron absorbs moisture from air and which converts into iron oxide. The rusting of iron is an electrochemical phenomenon. So what is the mechanism of iron? You see, iron surface acts as anode and undergoes oxidation. These reactions they'll ask in the exam. Iron surface acts as anode and undergoes oxidation. Means first iron changes to iron plus 2 electrons. So E degree of Fe plus 2 to Fe is equal to minus 0.44 volts. It is observed. The electrons are received by H plus ions in the presence of oxygen to form water. So these electrons observed received by H plus ions in the oxygen to form water and forms water. So in that E degree of is equal to electrode potential of the cell is equal to 1.23 volts. And the overall reaction is 2Fe plus 4OH plus 4H plus O2 gives us to 2Fe plus 2 plus 2H2O. And finally, this Fe plus 2 changes to FeO. Next, how to prevent rusting? Very important. This ways also they'll ask, methods to prevent rusting also they'll ask in the exam. The rusting can be prevented by avoiding the direct contact of iron with atmosphere. The methods of prevention of rusting can be done by the painting the surface of iron with zinc. That is called as galvanization. By covering the surface of iron by other metals like zinc, tin, etc., it is called galvanization. And by applying chemicals like pisophenol or grease, also we can prevent rusting of iron. So these are the methods. And this last method is that is by covering the surface of iron by other metals like zinc. It is called as, if iron surface is coated with zinc, it is called galvanization. For prevention of rusting, we'll coat the iron metal with zinc. Surface of iron metal with zinc. I hope it is clear. Next, sacrificial protection. In this method, an active metal like zinc, aluminum is connected to iron article by means of a wire. The active metal gets corroded and protect iron from rusting. Underground iron pipes are protected from rusting by this method. Is it clear? This is called sacrificial protection. Next, we have discussed only two cells, that is primary battery, Daniell cell and Leclanche cell. And even secondary battery, we have discussed only lead storage battery. Now in this final session, we are discussing some more batteries of both primary and secondary. What is a reversible cell? Daniell cell has a EMF value of 1.0109 volts or 1.1 volt. If an opposing EMF exactly equal to 1.09 volts is applied to the cell reaction, Zn plus, so if you are applying an opposing EMF exactly equal to 1.09 volts, then it stops, the reaction stops. But if it is increased infinitesimally beyond 1.08, the cell reaction is reversed. That is nothing but this copper combines zinc ions and forms zinc plus copper ions. Such a cell is termed as reversible cell. So this is called reversible cell. Next, which is cannot be reversed. The cell consisting of zinc and copper electrodes dipped in the solution of sulfuric acid is irreversible. Similarly, the cell zinc and sulfuric acid and silver is also irreversible because when the external EMF is greater than the EMF of the cell reaction, the cell reaction stops. So it cannot be reversed again and again. So this is called irreversible cell. Next, we have some more batteries. Mercury cell. Mercury cell is a primary cell, means it cannot be recharged again and again. It is used in watches, hearing aids, etc. It consisting of zinc amalgam, which is acting as anode, and a paste of mercuric oxide and carbon acts as cathode. Only these points you have to remember. Zinc amalgam acts as anode, and paste of mercuric oxide and carbon as cathode. And the electrode reactions are: at anode, zinc changes to zinc oxide; at cathode, mercuric oxide changes to mercury. And the overall reaction, zinc amalgam, that is zinc plus mercury, combines with mercuric oxide and forms zinc oxide plus mercury. So this is called mercury cell. And paste of mercury and carbon acts as cathode. Here a paste of mercury itself, that is mercuric oxide and zinc amalgam together, it is called as electrolyte. So this is called mercury cell. These are used in watches as well as hearing aids. Next. So this is the diagram. You can see the diagram. So it consisting of tin plated inner top, sealing insulated gasket, zinc anode, KOH saturated with zinc oxide in absorbent material, HGO mixed with graphite. So what is electrolyte? KOH saturated with zinc oxide in absorbent material is called as electrolyte, and HGO mixed with graphite is called cathode, and inner steel case, gas vent, everything. This is the structure of mercury cell. That's why you can see this cell button. This is like button cell, and this button cell is used in batteries. That is nothing but watches. Next, nickel cadmium cell. It is a secondary cell. It consisting of cadmium metal which acts as anode, and nickel oxide hydroxide. Nickel oxide hydroxide is acting as cathode, and KOH is used as battery electrolyte. The electrode reactions are: cadmium combines with OH minus ions and forms cadmium hydroxide, and nickel oxide hydroxide combines with water and forms nickel hydroxide and OH minus. And the overall reaction is cadmium combines with nickel oxide hydroxide plus water to form cadmium hydroxide and nickel hydroxide. So this is the reaction. Only these points you have to this. As I told you, there is no logic in these points. Only memorizing. So only memorizing topic. So all these points you have to remember for the exam. They can ask anything in the examination. And this is a shape of this battery. This is also a secondary battery. It can be recharged again and again. But when compared to lead storage battery, this is made up of nickel and cadmium, which is a little bit costly, more economical. So it is not economical when compared to lead storage battery. But the duration means that efficiency is more better than lead storage battery. But as it is not economical, they are not using this battery because of nickel and cadmium are costly. I hope this is clear. Now, I'm doing the summary of the chapter, what we have done in this chapter, very, very important. So this is the last lecture we are doing. Now we are going to do summary of the chapter. So summary of the chapter I'm doing now. What we have learned in this chapter. First topic. First topic we have done electrolysis and Faraday's laws. Electrolysis and Faraday's laws. So, second topic. Second topic we have done conductance, conductivities, conductance, comma, conductivity and Cole's law. Conductivity, comma, Cole's law. KOHL RAUSCH, Cole's law. And problems related to this. Next, third one, we have done electrode potential and energy equation. Third, we have done electrode potential electrode potential, and Nernst equation. Fourth, we have done batteries, that is primary cells and secondary cells. So all these areas we have done with n number of numericals and n number of theoretical questions. So this is a summary of the chapter. In this chapter, definitely you will get questions based on electrolysis and Faraday's laws, and conductance, conductivity, and Coulom's law. We have done numericals. All those models are important. And apart from that, electrode potential and Nernst equation. In electrode potential and Nernst equation, we have five types of problems. First one, I'm writing the types of problems in summary also. So just with Zoom pen, I'm writing. First one. First one, in Faraday's laws, problems related to Faraday's laws important. Problems on Faraday's first law and second law. On Faraday's laws that we have done, all the models. So that models you have to follow. Second, we have done product at cathode and anode. Product at cathode and anode. That is from electrolysis theoretical question. Product at cathode. What is the product formed at cathode and what is the product formed at anode by electrolysis? Electrolysis. Only electrolysis. So reaction at cathode, reaction at anode. Actually, this part I have done in the last, but first case it came. So 1 and 2 we have done. That is subtopic 1. Next, conductance, conductivity, Coulom's law. What we have done here? We have done problems related to molar conductivity, conductance, etc. Molar conductivity and Coulom's law. Coulom's law. That is second point. So the problems related to conductivity and conductance we have done. It's very, very important. And what type of problems we have done in that? Lambda m is equal to k into 1000 by c, and how to find out k 1 by r. So that is 1 by specific resistivity is called k. So the problems related to molar conductivity, limiting molar conductivity, k, that is conductivity, etc. All those different numericals we have done. So that is most important. And next, cell constant is equal to L by A. That also we have done. And Coulom's law, that is limiting molar conductance of the electrolyte is equal to the limiting molar conductance of the electrolyte is equal to the limiting molar conductivity of its cation and its anion. That is problems related to Coulom's law also we have done, even Ohm's law also we have taken. So these models are important. And so second, from my point of view, first, second, third areas are most important. First area, second area, and third area most important. Definitely you'll get a question from this, and still more type of questions we'll discuss. You have to do it on your own. And next we have done electrode potential and Nernst equation. In electrode potential, what type of questions we have discussed? How to calculate first in electrode potential model number 1 to calculate EDG of cell. First to calculate electrode potential of the cell. Second I'm writing the top. Second we are writing EMF of the cell by using Nernst equation. EMF of the cell. Third, we have done standard free energy in delta G problems. Delta G. And fourth, we have done KSP, equilibrium constant KC problems also we have done. And fifth, we have done KSP along with concentration. So all these 5 models are very, very important. So all these 5 models are important. If you do all these 5 models, this is more than enough. Apart from this, nothing they'll ask. And even reducing powers also they'll ask. Reducing powers. In the following the decreasing order of the reducing power. So reducing powers question also you'll get. So in batteries, as I told you, just only theoretical memory based question they'll ask. So all the batteries, electrolytes, all the batteries we have to think about electrolytes, uh, nature of electrolyte, anode made up of, cathode made up of, and net cell reaction. So these type of questions. So if you do all these things, this chapter is enough for any competitive exam. So for all competitive exams, they'll ask from these four topics only. And to my knowledge, one, two, three are most important. Try to do as many questions as you can from first, second, third areas, so that it will be easy for your examination. I hope it is clear. Thank you, all of you. I'm stopping the lecture now. So thank you.